I went to uni to do graphics. I wanted to be a commercial artist because art was the only thing that I was really, really good at, and apart from common sense. But I didn't I did a couple of years at uni, dropped out, went overseas, came back, worked in a swimming pool shop, worked at ordinary jobs. This opportunity just came along when I first got into the fashion industry, and it just happened to be an industry that I could appreciate the beauty and the artistic aspect of it. All fashion's got a fantastic beauty to it. It's all wearable art, and that's really, really exciting. So I get to work in an artistic way that probably makes more money for me than being, a graphic designer. So I was lucky enough. I just fell into it. I think a lot of people just fall into things in their life. And I just got lucky. Well, I was a single mum, and I was working in the same industry that I work in now, wholesaling ladies' fashion accessories. But I was living on the poverty line. It was really hard. I had a mortgage. I had bills to pay, car to run, little boy to look after. So what happened was I decided that I'd set up my own business. So I went into the business registration office. I parked outside in the 10-minute parking zone. That's how long I was in there for. So I ran in, made up a few names on the spot, put them in, but my boss's stepson happened to be in there at exactly the same time and went straight back to his mother, my boss, and said, "Oh, I saw Gail in the business registration office." So she did a search on anything under my name or the equivalent of, and so I was sprung. So she came to me the next day with a contract. I didn't have a contract with her, and the contract basically said, you sign this and you stay, but if you don't sign it, she said you can hand over the car keys, because I had a company car, and you can leave immediately. So it was a really, really difficult decision, because rather than being worse than being on the poverty line was actually not having a job. So I thought about it. I tried to get my way out of it as well as what I could. But I got up and I left. So that was it. So then I was without a job. So I thought, maybe I better do something. The very first thing I did was I had to go on an overseas trip. I needed a range. I didn't have anything. So a friend of mine put me in contact with an agent in India who happened to be the same agent that Kmart Australia used. So that was just really, really good coincidence. So I had somebody to see when I got to India. I went to a trade fair in Hong Kong. I came back with all these little swatches and little bits and pieces because I couldn't afford to buy full samples and all that sort of stuff. And then I rang up good people, like, the buyers at Portman's and Just Jeans that knew me. And the first week that I was showing, I got a great order from Saba, got a fabulous order from Portman's. So I was in business, all working from home. It was really, really good. Because I also had to go out on the road. So it wasn't just sort of bringing up the majors and getting the majors in. I also had to build up my client base as far as the boutiques were concerned. I was still sort of living on the single parents' pension while I'm doing all of this because I had no money. And then after about 6 months, Jane came on board with me, and that was the beginning of a fabulous partnership. And that also she could babysit a little bit, like Alex could come home from school and she'd be there and I could still be out on the road. So it was a juggling act, but it worked out okay. Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. The best thing about running your own business is freedom. No one can fire you. You can make a mistake and no one's going to yell at you. There are huge advantages. There's disadvantages like the workload and the pressure, but you take that on yourself. And when you're doing it for yourself, you don't notice it like you notice it if you're doing it for someone else. It's the financial freedom and the psychological freedom, as far as, you know, your own job security, being, you know, in control of your own destiny. That's really, really quite amazing, and it's something I didn't expect. It actually came as quite a surprise. That's the best part about it.